CEO with Lisa G. I'm the best-selling author of The Boss Weight Loss. I'm bringing you the top tips to be unstoppable. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to actually pull up a chair with today's top experts in weight loss, mindset, and business. Learn our top tips to set you up for success so that you can have more energy, be fit and resilient, and feel unstoppable. Hey everyone, I'm so excited. I'm going to welcome today David Meltzer. Hey David.
Hi.
I'm going to just read your quick bio here and then we're going to jump right into the content. So David Meltzer is the CEO of Sports One Marketing, formerly served as CEO of the renowned Leigh Steinberg Sports and Entertainment Agency, which was the inspiration for the movie Jerry Maguire, which I love. He's a 3-time international best-selling author, top 100 business coach, executive producer of Entrepreneur's #1 digital business show, Elevator Pitch. And his newest book, Game Time Decision Making, was the #1 release by Variety Magazine and Sports Humanitarian and the recipient of the Ellis Island Award. So that's all super fascinating. And thank you so much for being so awesome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This is going to be great.
Okay, well, I just thought we would jump right into the content. And what is interesting to me is going from stuck to unstoppable. So I thought maybe you would want to launch into a little bit of your story and how you have failed forward in the past to inspire all of us other entrepreneurs that have done the same thing.
Of course, I think everyone, and that's why I study history actually, is stuck in human nature. We live in an ego-based consciousness the majority of the time, which is creating resistance, failures, obstacles, voids, and shortages, sometimes that we're aware of, sometimes that we're not. And I'm no different than anyone else. Grew up with, 5 siblings and a single mom who was still is an extraordinary mom. And I had one goal, just being rich, which is the goal of most entrepreneurs. They sometimes are afraid to admit it, but they want to make a lot of money. And I had a purpose to my money. I wanted to buy my mom a house and a car because the only time I wasn't happy is when I caught her crying over financial stresses. And it could be from the car breaking down to not being able to afford summer camp to even not being able to afford food. But yet I just wanted to be rich, and I continued a path of entrepreneurship in order to be rich, even though I was hyper educated because my mom believed the fetus wasn't fully developed till after graduate school and drove her children to be successful. 2 keys, just a little parenting advice intermittent in here. One, if you want your kids to be successful, wake them up at 5 a.m. and use a lot of guilt. Those 2 things are the secret to success of successful parenting.
And I'm Jewish too. I feel you on that.
Yeah, I grew up under doctor, lawyer, failure. So to be rich, I reverse engineered law school. I saw that the highest paid kids out of law school or adults out of law school were maritime lawyers. They're oil and gas lawyers. So I went to the top maritime law school, Tulane University, to study maritime law. But my entrepreneurship, my money-driven passion, I got offered a job in the internet for a salesperson to sell legal research. $250,000 comp plan. I got extremely focused and utilized the power of 64. I worked twice as many hours, twice as efficiently, twice as statistically successful. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64 productive hours. 7 days a week though, because I don't believe in working. I believe in activity I got paid for, activity I didn't get paid for, and I find the light or love and find the light in everything I do. So with that perspective, I was able to make $1 million in 9 months. I always tell people, ironically, they were giving me all these awards for being so far above plan. But if you do the math of productive hours, I basically had worked 10 years. So I was far below my plan. I just beat them with time and statistics. From there, I continued to brand myself an internet guru, became a multimillionaire in the Silicon Valley, not only investing, but raising money, and finally becoming the CEO of the world's first smartphone. That should indicate already that I believe in not limiting my point of entry. I believe in voting for what I believe in. One of the toughest decisions of my life was when I graduated law school, because my mom told me emphatically that I needed to be a real lawyer and the internet was a fad.
That's
And to
so
go
funny.
I know,
Poor thing.
yeah, well, you got Jewish mom. Like, to go against my mom.
Oi, you got to throw some oys in there on that one.
That's right, man. It was big. But I learned to vote for what I wanted. And if you're going to have one takeaway from this, stuck to unstoppable, it's if you want to be unstuck and you want to be unstoppable, you got to start voting for what you want. You cannot vote for what other people want for you, because you're going to end up getting or electing what other people want for you and resenting them, be offended by it. You're going to create shortages, voids, and obstacles, and you're just going to be stuck. You're going to think, say, do, and believe all the right things, but still the unconscious competency will not have a new frequency. You'll carry the same frequency genetically from the 4 generations that preceded you, your grandparents, great grandparents, etc.
So you have to listen to your gut on everything, like what your instincts are.
Yeah, with logic. If you know your values and you do a value assessment, I use my personal values, experiential values, giving values, and receiving values, then allow my gut to make the decision.
An informed gut decision. I love it. That's such wonderful advice that you learned from not taking the advice from your mother about something she knew nothing about. Like growing up, none of us had an internet anyhow. So
right.
That was really smart.
I still don't take business advice from her, and I still love her to death. But I ended up, a multimillionaire with every single thing I could dream of. CEO of the world's first smartphone, working with Microsoft with their Windows CE device, and Samsung as the manufacturer. Just an incredible experience. But the interesting thing was, I had my dream girl that I married. I had 3 beautiful daughters at the time, multimillionaire. I had my dream house that I lived in, my dream cars, anything you could imagine I could afford. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't happy.
You weren't fulfilled on the inside.
I wasn't. And so I started buying different things, and more things that make me happy. But worse, here now I had my dream job. I was now CEO of the most notable sports agency in the world, Leigh Steinberg Sports Entertainment.
Show me the money. I love that part.
Exactly. My best place is the living room. But I literally had everything. And I remember just surrounding myself with the wrong people, the wrong ideas.
I've done that. Yeah.
And I ended up falling forward, as we say. I ended up losing everything. I lost over $100 million.
Oh my gosh.
Without paying attention. I really learned the lesson of what I pay attention to needs my intention to create the coincidences that I wanted. If I was going to put the wrong intention into things, or I like to use the word vote, if I was going to keep voting for the wrong things were sure to come up. Now, at that time, I thought that I was still genetically bound and stuck. I thought, wow, maybe the caste system in India is correct, that I just have a certain level of life that I can live. And I had exceeded my caste, I'd exceeded my class level, and that I have an internal thermometer that just reset itself, and that I wasn't worthy of everything that I had, that my self-sabotage was actually where I was supposed to be. And it wasn't a matter of my construct, but the universe itself had go ahead and gave me my lot in life. But luckily, I have this wonderful wife who told me to take stock in who I was, and continually stuck with me to open my eyes, my mind, and my soul, and my heart to the possibilities and probabilities, to give me a new perspective, one of being of service and providing value, to making room in my life. She helped me discover that, when I was a child, I lived in a world of not enough, and that scarce world of not enough. And I know it doesn't matter what you have, if you have that scarce feeling and energy, you'll never have enough. And then I progressed as married to her into a world of just enough. I always had just enough.
I've done that too. It's painful.
And lonely, because in a world of just enough, there's just enough for you. And you can feel optimistic, but very lonely and unsatisfied, because there's no flow occurring. And so my wife enlightened me of a new world, a world of more than enough, a world where I had extreme confidence in the true laws of the universe, and to the true giving and receiving, and to make room in a world of more than enough, knowing that there's more than enough of everything for everyone. I'll tell you a real simple story that hit home for me is when I was working with Leigh, I had to go tell him I was bankrupt. Now, the reason he hired me was I was known as Midas Meltzer, right? Everything I touched turned to gold. He was representing the biggest athletes and celebrities in the world. They were going bankrupt. He wanted a CEO that was just as successful as his last partner, Jeff Morad, who had bought into the Diamondbacks, ended up being the owner of the Padres. But he wanted me to be this successful icon to help recruit more players so that we could talk about financial literacy, responsibility, et cetera, with all the athletes going broke. I had to go tell him I was broke, but worse, I had to go tell my mom
Oh,
that I had
that's
lost
the
everything.
hard part.
But worse, I lost her house because I forgot to take it out of my name.
Oops.
And when my mom showed me her unconditional love and told me the minute I told her she had to move and she lost her house and there was no more guilt, it was just simply unconditional love. What can I do for you? Do you need any money? How can I help
Oh, I
you?
love that. I mean, thank you so much for being so vulnerable and real and sharing your stories. It means so much to me. And I love the actionable tips that you gave about not taking advice from people that don't know what they're talking about, where it's not that they're not smart, but it's just not their field of expertise. And do you have any other advice that you want to give our audience? Because I know you're also into meditation. So, how does having a meditation practice help you with the inevitable ups and downs? I mean, not all of us have gone up to 100 million and back down and back up again. So congratulations on all your success multiple times. But what other actionable tips do you have for us on that with meditation?
Yeah, so meditation is part of my routine. So I do it every day. 20 minutes of meditation is worth more than 20 hours a week. So be consistent about your meditation. For me, meditation is about, and I do it at 4 a.m. when I wake up every morning, is about finding my higher frequency. Finding my highest frequency through meditation allows me to enjoy every day the consistent, without quit, persistent pursuit of my higher frequency or potential or truth. And so allowing me to have a baseline that's set so high every day also raises my awareness to when I am in ego-based consciousness, when I have the need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, scared, any of these feelings that cause me to have a lower vibration or a lower frequency, or are causing me to move in the wrong trajectory, meaning I'm voting for the wrong things. What happens through meditation for me is that I am able to find a higher frequency, a greater potential, a greater awareness, which allows me to roll in the right direction, to keep on the path that I'm looking to stay upon, which allows me not to waste energy, allows me to clear the connection to the highest power of energy source, light that exists, that I'm always connected to. All of these different things are predicated upon the one mere fact that I meditate specifically to find this higher self, this higher frequency. And I encourage everyone to explore meditation. I utilize theta meditation. I'm a quantum healer. I've done it for 11 years. It's the most significant activity that I utilize every day next to sleep. I have a sleep
Do you
mentor.
sleep?
11 to 5 every day, but I have a
How
sleep.
many hours do you sleep?
Well, I try to sleep from 11 to 4, I'm sorry, but sometimes I don't make it to 11 because I don't fall asleep. I pass out. The number one mentor that I have in my life is my sleep coach. People don't utilize the unconscious and subconscious connection that we have that can actually allow you to not only regenerate physically, but to expand your unconscious and your subconscious while you are at rest. And so if you don't have or have this time to study sleep, you're making a huge mistake. It can create an extraordinary amount of power, inspiration, light in order to get yourself unstuck or create a new mindset. I always tell everyone, stop arranging your furniture and start arranging your mind.
I
Your
love that. I mean, for
furniture
me,
won't matter.
as a woman, I can feel the difference in my mood and hormone levels when I get sleep versus don't get sleep, and like getting triggered or, being able to respond versus react to things. And I know, so the advice you're giving is for us to be able to fail forward, the meditation will help us be able to enjoy the moment instead of always looking to the future and being sad about the past. Is that helpful?
Absolutely. And I think you bring up another great point is time. I have a TV show, like you mentioned, called Elevator Pitch. And what you don't see in the screen when the entrepreneur is pitching for 60 seconds is a humongous clock is right in front of them. And the reason
That's stressful.
Exactly. But that's what people do in their own life. You immediately responded, as most people, oh my God, that's stressful. But think about what you do every day when you're trying to set your objectives, when you're trying to get unstuck, when you're trying to accelerate and grow. We start putting time limitations. Oh, I need to make $1 million by the end of the year. I want to, right? Everything's in a certain amount of time. I got this bill due at the end of the month. I got employees to pay or
Guilty. Yeah, definitely.
Think about my elevator next time you do that to yourself, and think about how difficult and how much resistance, shortages, voids, and obstacles and interference you cause simply by focusing in on the clock. Stop focusing on the clock. The clock is a man-made construct.
So it happens when it happens. There's no time where you have to be successful by this point in December 31st, 2019. Okay, so that didn't happen. 2016, well, that didn't happen. So I've been failing forward, and I just wanted your inspiration. And I know we don't have that much time, but maybe we could touch upon one more thing, and then you can tell our audience where they can find you, because I love your stuff on YouTube and podcasts and Instagram. So maybe can we finish with just a little bit about intention and the powers of intention?
Yeah, absolutely. So intention is the power in the faith or the votes that are required by what you think, say, do, and believe. But you also have to be aware of your unconscious competency, your personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions, which I believe exist in a quantum memory, your DNA, your chromosomes, the epigenetic of those that activate and deactivate it. At its simplest level, it's your personality. And we have a frequency. And so what we have to do is understand that intention is the aggregate of what we think, say, do, and believe. And those things, they adjust our unconscious competency. And that unconscious competency is why we get stuck. So it's a great place to finish the interview, because if you use your intention to change your frequency, to raise your frequency, then your frequency will have a stronger signal, a wider spectrum, and a clearer message. What does that mean to the universe? Now you're calling upon the abundance of the universe that has everything for everyone, that already exists in the infinity of time, space. All of these things exist, but yet it's not just what you think, say, and do exteriorly that attracts it. It's internally within yourself, what you think, say, do, and believe. Your intent has so much power that it changes your frequency, your thermometer, your temperature, so that you can break through. And I don't believe, I know you keep talking about failing forward. I have no failures in my life. Life is simply about lessons.
That's what brought us to where we are today. I can't look back and say shoulda, woulda, coulda either. But I mean, thank you so much for showing us that you have the power to change this subconscious programming about only having enough or not having enough or not being abundant, not being successful, and that it's available for all of us. I really appreciate your positive message and all you do for the world with all your charity and just generosity and how you give to people so much just with your content alone. So where can people go to find you for all that amazeballs content that you have?
I should carry you in my back pocket. You're amazing. Just tell everyone
Thank
how much you know. But my name is the best way to find me, which is David Meltzer. So at David Meltzer on YouTube. Google David Meltzer. My website, though, is dmeltzer, first initial last name.com. David Meltzer was taken and they won't give it to me. And if you use davemeltzer.com, you'll find me. But Dave Meltzer is a world wrestling guy, so don't get confused. I am not the wrestling Dave Meltzer, so use David Meltzer. And I'm so grateful that you gave me this 20 minutes. I appreciate that you stick to my 5
Thank you.
rule. And
I'm going to do it. I'm going to touch base with you and show you that your word is helping me out.
I can tell. You call me anytime. I live my life of service. Please reach out, share my content, and do good deeds. Be kind to your future self. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, David. This episode is brought to you by Good Pod. Protein shakes are messy, expensive, and hard to make. Good Pod is a new amazing shake maker that's a blender and a pod in one. Pick a pod, Fill your glass with water or milk in 60 seconds or less. You have a healthy protein shake and it's ready to drink. Just like that.